Okay, folks, here we are again. The Vietnam Memorial Wall that exists in Washington, D.C., and where I was back in 1990 when I wrote this titled The Vietnam Memorial Wall. It's kind of long, about 8 or 9 minutes, but I'll try to keep it interesting as possible throughout. The Vietnam Memorial Wall. 58,175 names, almost all male, all dead. There were 58,175 mothers, less the few that had more than one son in the war. 58,000 plus that all fathers that all grieved, except those that died before their sons did. All were babies once, little kids, went through ages 6 and 9, 12 and 17. All wanted love, needed it. Most of them got some, many got plenty. Many gave a lot of love to others who loved them in return. Some basked in extended families. Some got none, no love, and grew up very angry and didn't know who to be angry at. Sometimes they kicked the shit out of some punk kid at school. Sometimes they were the kid the others kicked the shit out of. So, the wall. It is very sobering, very sad. All those deadened lives for what? Patriotism? You defend your homeland for patriotism. You don't fly B-52s over other countries and bomb their jungles or throw hand grenades into thatched huts for patriotism, unless you're also willing to concede that Adolf Hitler walked down the Champs-Élysées in Paris for patriotism with his generals in 1940. Is that what patriotism can mean? Come on, don't give me that. Yeah, but communism. Well, these 58,000 plus were part of a force that fought and sometimes exterminated villagers who never heard of communism. In fact, some never even heard of Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, or certainly couldn't spell it. Michael Guthrie, Mike your buddies called you, you are one of the dead. Remember the village your platoon entered and how the little women smiled at you? But Gus, your platoon commander, told you to kill everything. Scorched earth. Gotta stamp out communism, he said. Remember how sick you felt afterward? Vomiting beside the trail? You were haunted for months by the beautiful little dark-haired girl with the rich lips and the flowered shawl that Art standing beside you put several bullets into, and the look of horror on her face. Could you forget? How could you? For nights you thought, what are we doing here? As you tried to go to sleep and often couldn't. What the hell are we doing here? What the goddamn hell are we doing here? We're like a bunch of Nazis. Ah, my God. What, dear God, am I doing here? 58,000. That's a small town. And they're all dead, or missing, and probably long since dead, and rotted away to tatters and stinking flesh somewhere in a shallow grave or in a stream bed. Mike, you were such a beautiful kid, and how you loved your electric train and your ninth Christmas, at your ninth Christmas, and yet before you died, you gunned down little people in Southeast Asia, in a place you'd never heard of when you were 9. In their black pajamas, their emaciated bodies, the beautiful girls, the chickens, the pigs, the parrots, the butterflies, the thick, dense jungle. A kind of hot and steaming paradise. Now, dear reader, try to think of something pretty unusual you never thought of before. Think of the effort it took by those little people in Vietnam to actually kill 58,000 muscled Americans, armed to the teeth. Just think what it took to kill just William Irwin and Rodolfo Ayala Cespedes And Joseph Ritter and Billy Saltzer Chung, just 4 out of 58,000. That's less than 1/100th of 1% of what they had to kill. They had to kill to win the war and drive us off. After years of bomb craters in their vegetable patches and rice paddies, and of thousands of jungle wild creatures blown to bits or poisoned with Agent Orange. Just think of their old parents, long dead, died in battle. 83 years old, can you believe this? They died in battle at the hands of the Americans? That's us, my God, that's us. These poor 58,000 dead young men. That is a lot, it's a hell of a lot. Our hearts have to go out to them, to their memories, their ghosts like Hamlet's father on the ramparts at Elsinore, and that they were murdered by someone in the family. All 58,000 of them murdered by their own president, by their own generals, by their own political superstitions, by their inability to know or learn that offshore oil off Vietnam might have something to do with it all. And we lived in a society that was the head of an empire and wanted more and tried to crush every resistance movement everywhere. After World War II and the United Nations, this is us. If it crushed everything, if it got in the way of the empire's needs, no matter what you thought or wanted. So get out there and fight communism like a patriot. And if you don't make it home, we'll at least put your name in marble with 58,174 others in Washington, D.C. But not the parts where the streets are filthy, or over in Virginia where the end of the world is being planned at the CIA.